How much is it? £6. Hey, where there is green, there's something to save, right? So let's save that houseplant together. And you guys won't believe how much this plant cost me. Hi, I'm Lisa. Welcome to my channel, and if you're new here, I share all of my experience, the good and bad ones, over here on YouTube about houseplants, anthurium, semi-hydro and pon. Today wasn't planned, but here we have a rescue plant which I got from my local supermarket. Let's try to rescue this baby. I just can't. They've been drilling for 3 hours. I escaped the noise and I went into my local supermarket and I thought, let's get a houseplant. They aren't the best quality, but I found one I want to take home. Excuse me, like, hello. I mean, how much is it? £6. So yeah, I'm going to ask for a discount because look at that. And then we will try to rescue this one because it is very, very pretty. So I don't know if I'm allowed to film here, but let me find some stuff. Was it always so loud in supermarkets? I feel like the music is so loud. So they agreed to give me 50% off, so it's going to be £3. That's a bargain. So yeah, this is your reminder. Don't be shy, just ask for it if it's not reduced and you want to take that plant. There's another update. I asked one of the customer service and they said, yeah, get 50%, so I paid. They said, I can pay £3 for it, just tell the guys at the till. And I went to the till and the guy looked at the plant and was like, well, that's going to be on the brink of death, just take it for free because we will bin it anyway. I was like, why would you bin it? If there's green, there's something to save, right? So I got this one for free. But now let's go home and rescue this little baby. Do you guys know? Oh my goodness. It is absolutely gorgeous. As you've seen in the video, I got it for free. And you know, we all love free plants. And look at this absolute beauty. It has no ID, of course. There we are. This is the newest leaf, which is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that mint variegation. There are some yellowing leaves. The actual person which worked at the store that said they would have binned this plant tonight. So he gave it for free. And I was like, why would you bin that plant? Let me try to rescue it. It is labeled as indoor tropical houseplant mix. Philodendron scandens Rio. It's not, I don't think it's a scandens. My guess it's Philodendron Paradisio Verde. You can see that because it has those red rims here. It's a Paradisio Verde because you can see the leaf shape with the 2 ears there, and of course the red rim around, red or pinkish rim around the leaf. How I will rescue this plant, because I think there is more than one plant in there. The first thing we are going to do is we're going to remove that horrible soil and then we go from there. Oh, look at the roots. Oh, look at that. That's so healthy. I cannot believe they wanted to bin that. Look how healthy those roots are. That's a good root system. Look at that soil. It's so dry. Yeah. We're going to remove all of this and then we will check for pests and then we'll see how we get on. I'm trying to be as careful as possible not to damage the roots. I was so surprised. I don't think I ever asked for plant to be reduced, but I thought, why not? I encourage everyone to do that because they're going to bin those plants anyway. The likelihood that they are going to say, yeah, just take it or just pay £1 or £2, it's quite high. So we just keep fiddling through there. I cannot wait for it to grow big, and at some point I will put it on a moss pole. Of course I will. And hopefully get the leaves as big as roses. I have removed as much as I could by hand. Little tip to make it easier to be removed is I will dunk them into lukewarm water. And then I just swirl them a little bit around. You can leave them soaking in as well. Oop. First leaf is gone. And then we just can keep removing some of the soil, which of course now it's wet, but I find it a bit easier to remove like this. Oh my God, there are lots of plants in there. As you can see, we have multiple stems on there. And I think it's the best if we separate them. First cut. Okay. So here, first plant, I will leave it in the water. I'm going to remove all of the yellow and the damaged leaves because they would die off anyway. The next one I just can pull apart. Okay. Look at this baby, that is so cute. We have 4 plants. Super important thing you have to do when you buy a new plant. It doesn't matter where you buy it. If it's in a plant shop, if it's in the supermarket, please make sure you check your plant for pests. I, in this case, did not check for pests because it was a rescue. We will do that right now. What I normally do is I'm going to check the underleaf. So if I'm in the store, I will just check the underleaf very closely. I see if there's any browning or if I can see any white dots, any webs on the leaf. And please check multiple leaves and not just one and you can't see anything and you think there is nothing. What I normally do is I'll take a picture with my flash in there and then I zoom in. I couldn't see any pests, luckily, on this houseplant. However, I will still quarantine it. What I mean is I'll put it in a completely different room than all of my houseplants for, I personally do it around 2 weeks, just to make sure I don't introduce any pests into my collection, because I'd rather be cautious than treating all of those plants, because that's a little pain in the butt. If you don't have the space to do that, it is very easy. You can use one of those clear containers. You just flip it upside down, you put the plant in there and keep it locked. Or you just use a clear plastic bag. You put the plant into the plastic bag and just tie it shut. It is in your collection, but it is separated and quarantined away from your houseplants. I decided that I will put it into a soil mix, a basic houseplant soil mix, just because I cannot remove all of the soil from the roots and I don't want it to rot in pot. And I don't want to force it and cut away the roots and rip the roots off, because it's already very stressed because of the condition it came in. I don't want to stress it anymore and I'd potentially die on me. I'm going to use, for the big cutting, a clear pot I washed out. And then for the rest of the cuttings, I use little reused plastic cups. For this, I will use the Soil Ninja, Monstera and Philodendron mix. So this is the close-up of the mix, which has lots of bark, some activated charcoal in there, cellulite, pumice, some worm castings, cocoa coir and perlite, because I don't have the space at home to do my own mixes. I love these guys so much. Let's pot up the big one. And so because it has a lot of big holes, this pot, I will add a drainage layer of pon at the bottom, just a little bit, so it doesn't fall through the holes. I'm going to add my first layer. and then my plant. And with this, I'll make sure that some of the roots are tucked on the outside so I can see if they grow nicely. And then we just top it up all the way. First one is potted up, and I mean, I'm sure it's going to survive. There we have the next one, which is quite a big plant as well, but because of the roots and how big the root system is, I'm choosing a little plastic container. And for this one, we don't need a drainage layer of Repotting, so we can go straight away with the soil in there. And then we do a twisty, twisty, twist. I hold it with 2 fingers. So I pot this one up. My camera heated up again, so this one is potted up nicely. Just to make sure, cut a little drainage hole. Put your knife in there and just slice a little hole in there. Our last one. So we're going to check if this cup is too big or too small. And you see, I want the root ball to have a little bit more space, so I will choose the same size as we did with this one. And then we have them all potted up now. One of the last steps, but most important steps, is we're going to wash the plant. This is a plain water and dish soap mix, so there's nothing else other than water and dish soap inside. We have a little cloth. We're going to dip it in there, and we are just going over every single leaf. If you have a spray bottle, you can use a spray bottle too. Mine sadly broke. Just to make sure if there are some hidden pests, you wash them away. There is a new leaf growing, look at that! Can you see that? It's probably already going to be damaged, as you can see. Yay! So, last step, what's left? Watering. Let's give them a good soak. There it is. Paradiso Verde number 2 is here. And then we have the third one. I said before, I won't leave them in my plant living room. I will put them into my bedroom, where there's the quarantine area at the moment with some of the plants which are not doing so well. And they will be hiding out there for the next 2 weeks. And I'll keep a close eye on it. Yeah, let me know if you want to have an update in a few weeks' time. Let me know in the comments if you ever rescued a houseplant before and which plant it was. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I see you next week. If you liked this video and want to follow along my YouTube journey here with my houseplants and moving soon, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe and give me a thumbs up. So, for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!